What's good, YouTube? What's this? YouTube has won the war today, and with that, we have a live video on chat, both YouTube's and Twitch Banlist take, and I have a feeling some people have pendulum on the brains with the first couple of these, so let's go ahead and start with, can ENDYMION come back to 3? I actually think when ENDYMION was introduced, they were taking a max of 3 in Top Cut, and that dwindled. I see no reason for ENDYMION not to come back to 3. That's not a roast. The second person says, can we have Plushfire to 1 and Astrograph to 1? Plushfire? Sure. Astrograph? I'm not as okay with that if we're also talking Electromite, which you might guess that's going to be coming up here in a second. But I think that together, so the next question literally is, can Electromite come back? Absolutely. We have Isolde in the game, we have Hulk in the game, but I don't think you could have Astrograph back at the same time immediately. I would want to take steps in the game, see how we interact, and 1 to 2 Pendulums back in Top Cut would be no problem. That's perfectly healthy for the game. So you thought I'd roast all these Pendulum takes? We have double Iris Magician to 3? Sure, bro, you can have it. We have Skull Crobat Joker to 3? Yeah, sure, why not? Monkey Mord back to 1? You could have 3 for all I care. I think this 1 card scale together when it's stuck as magicians and that sort of stuff, perfectly fine. Go ahead. So yeah, our first whole 5 questions / 6 cards are Pendulum, and a lot of them don't deserve their place on the list, but some of them in combination together probably do. Plushfire, you know, people would argue that it shouldn't be back at past 1 because of Draco Yep and the ability to pop and pop off with it. I think you're fine with that in modern day advantage overall. Now, the next one I will roast. Masterpiece, please come back. Oh, the 1 or 3, it's perfectly fine, John. We also have Diagram on this list. Somebody wants it back to 3. So, oh, they'd be fine at 3 together. Look at the OCG kind of stuff. MBT proved perfectly fine why we can't have Masterpiece back. That quick pop with self-protection just isn't healthy for the game. You don't want to add armor to an activity monster in the game that is also huge. It's just not fair. I'm actually surprised we don't have Kieran in all of these questions, by the way. Pendulum players, you failed me. Next up, we have somebody asking if Colossus can come back. Sus question. I think the self-protecting walking floodgate is fine, considering we have other self-protecting walking floodgates within question here. You have more ways to out it than ever between triple imperm, 3 droplet, 3 dark ruler, and the more draw the out 5 head isn't the best answer in a lot of situations, but there's just so many more outs than ever. Kaijus, there's a kaiju for that, and with just 1 where previously it was 3 you were dealing with on a board, and the splashability of this I do get improves in boards, let it be at 1. I've seen the rogue decks even testing it in Therio, and it's not the biggest deal. Harp Horror back to 1. Roast me, John. If you said 3 or something, sure, but at 1, GARASU didn't even have the chance to run, only walk, maybe even be pushed around in a wheelchair. He went from $90 pre-sale to 30, just so terrible, became basically Hulk fodder for a lot of people. So Harport, I would gladly embrace it 1. Just free the Eternal format at this point. You did half of it, do the rest. Face Off, Pendulum. We're still in the Pendulum talks, you know. Can it come back to 3? Absolutely. I'm pretty sure it is in the OCG, by the way. Zeus to 1 or 0. Hard agree. I'm supposed to be roasting these takes, but with the Megatons, I think it'll land towards 1 rather than 0. Exciton Knight did his stint on the ban list. Zeus is a powered-up version of that. Definitely deserves to be on the list. I hard agree. Hard agree. Next up, we have, can Sekka's Light come to 3? I personally think so, but I think Konami is just too lazy when it comes to moving these cards on and off the list, but I think they should be more proactive with some of those, Sekka's Light being 1. I think it's perfectly fine right now, adds power to certain decks. I know there's that one super heavy samurai player in the chat breathing heavily right now as I talk about this card. We were even discussing what it must be like to be like this one person on a deck for so long, approaching banlist. ABC players probably hate the ban list most of the time, same with Burning Abyss players, but for that super heavy samurai player, can the ban list affect his life? Not this time, not next time, who knows when. How to hit the invoked engine. Alistair, yep. Invocation, yep. Meltdown, yep. Here's where I get to roast you. We don't need to do anything to any of these. Let people normal summon Alistair for 5 more years. It only becomes practical at the beginning of formats usually, and fades out for a reason. If he's persisting in a format, that's probably a healthy format. Dude, there's other decks, yes, that are going to be able to go past in, like, the Dogmatica engine most recently, but he phases in and out just fine on his own, and if he's being proactive in a format, it's probably a good format, so I don't feel like you need to do anything to any of these. How do we hit SHADDOLLs? Well, I'm going to say SCHISM, actually, because the self-protecting walking floodgate was not a problem for years and actually was a fan-favorite card until this card that came around, so I say take out the problem card that enables the action. Same with the discussion, how do we hit Dragoon? The enabling card that Foolish Burial is your pieces from the deck that needs to be there for Verte also. Is Verte the problem without Red Eyes Fusion? No. Is Dragoon the problem without Red Eyes Fusion? You saw a bit future into the list? No. Neither of these are problems without the Red Eyes Fusion. Now, Anaconda will be played in Destiny Heroes in the future, but for the power Anaconda's done till now, it's really cool text like Rainbow Neos, and yeah, it's going to be part of a metagame in the future, so, take care of this card. No, it's Red Eyes Fusion, and if you think otherwise, I used to think Anaconda, so that's a fine take, but you take away Red Eyes Fusion, well, if you don't, the Stun players are still playing Dragoon. Yep, they're fine going with 3. They were never using Anaconda. They're peeking into Top Cut with just set a ton of floodgates, have their glue woo, and go into this. Red Eyes Fusion, in my opinion, is the problem at this point. And if you're making Dragoon without this, you deserve it. And Verte's not as big of a problem without this card either. Diagram to 3, please. I'm not a true Draco fan, and I think that this promotes unhealthy gameplay when all the cards that it interacts with have 3 positive effects. Oh, you're going to get to draw. Oh, you're going to get an extra tribute. Oh, you're going to destroy spell and traps. While it promotes this unique mechanic in the game, it basically turns tribute summoning into special summoning. I don't like that. I think it's a pretty terrible mix, especially when you're talking about bringing this back with it. Come on, dudes. Next up, that grass looks greener is fine. Look at the OCG. Look at that. Well, they keep restricting it more, as I recall, but that grass looks greener now. Modern day has Orcust. Imagine be a PK with this. I used to think it was interesting in theory that it would self-limit itself. The more grass decks appear, the more it limits, but realistically it's chaotic, and the advantage given off one card is too much. Infernity ARCHFIEND to 3, please. We're not the OCG, and I also think there's problematic cards with this in the TCG. We have had future support, yet it's still at 1, and I think that's for a pretty good reason overall. And now, the 6 Samurai player is going to tell you, I don't want to see this at 3. I don't need to see loops with counters. I don't need you to see degenerate stuff happening with my namesake from after my namesake, because I won before Gateway to date myself. And I really think that Gateway should just stick at 1. You have a searcher for it. Actually work for your Bushido counters, please. Maxine, no discussion is complete without it when it comes to the ban list. My answer is still 0 to 3. That's not changing. Preferably 0. I'd rather not deal with it. And if you need Maxi to lean on its power, you don't deserve Maxi. Should be limited? Wow. Huh? Alright, this one, first off, you have the fossil guy that also pops. It's not a quick pop. I feel like actually is good against Dogmatica, by the way. I don't get how this came up before in the Dear Servant, but, like, whenever they're doing Maximus, you want multiple against that deck, so, like, I get that it gives power to them, but also helps limit against them because you can play it in your extra. Why would you go for limiting this card? I don't understand that. That's one of the weirdest ban list takes I've seen in a long time. Malicious to 3. Somebody else said malicious to 1 right after I posted that on Twitter. I think Mali to 3 to sell both the Burst of Destiny. You don't need it. They're going to sell Burst of Destiny anyways. This is the most anticipated core set since Rise of the Duelist, which I know is just a year ago, but we've had a dry spell, and Burst of Destiny is going to sell itself. I'm looking more forward to the insect support. So Mali to 2, it's okay. Destiny Hero is going to be good without it at 3. I don't see the need to move the needle on this one either way. Called by the Grave. Should we put it to 2 or 3, John? My answer is to 0 or 1, where it's at, preferably 0. A card like this really benefits people who win the dice roll and see it first and are able to take care of your opponents only drawing to 5. Their hand traps, you're able to limit them in what they're able to do, and in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! You need hand traps, so you put it to more. I used to be on the team not understanding why this was choked out. Definitely. Now it feels super sacky when somebody has one, and versus that Max C argument, 0 or 3, again, I'd rather see 0, but I understand why it's at 1 if they want to include it in the game. How do we hit Tri-Brigade? If you're not saying Tri-Brigade Revolt, or you're not saying Shureg, I'm not sure what you're saying, because if you do Shureg to 1, you actually have to figure out what you're doing with Revolt in your advantage engine versus the power play to offer in the deck. If you do Revolt, well, you're actually hurting the choke point, freaking return from the different dimension combined with Graveyard advantage engine into the non-targeting advantage. So, I feel like if you hit either one of these cards to 1, you're doing pretty fine against the deck, and it's the slap on the wrist where people will still eat up this engine along with other decks for its advantage. A hero lives! Can it go to 3, John? I used to be on the team that thought it could, just like you. I was a dumb simpleton. Whenever you see the amount of power this actually offers with Darklaw, the walking floodgate macro when macro's at 1, I almost feel like I'm a prisoner, Stockholm Syndrome, because I like to see Darklaw do its thing now, but you play against it back in the day, you hated Darklaw, and you'll hate him again after a couple of months with him, so it's like that relationship you don't want to go back to. That's a hero lives. Jet Synchron should come back and Hulk should be banned. You're not going to hear an argument from me on this one. I think Hulk has so many cards banned for it, it's ridiculous. That's why I laughed that Electromite's even on the list, just for like, I think the TCG office said something about pendulums all playing the same. Okay, Synchro decks can play without links, sure, but let's let Jet Synchron and certain cards interact with the new Synchro stuff, Dandelion, Hello Token Generation, and just get rid of Hulk. Let's go ahead and do it. How do we hit the deck for Drytron? Should we head into Ben 10? Should we be banning both Heralds? Both Heralds, no. I don't think you need to ban Ben 10 either. We've been over this. You either choke out Eva, which I think is wrong, or you ban Beatrice, the enabler that goes into all this advantage engine. I think you go that way, but Eva is also pretty suspect at this point. Should we ban all the FTK enablers that don't have hard OPTs? Probably, but I actually like that they're an indicator of when an engine or card is a problem here in the TCG. While they're banned in the OCG, and they are a little bit toxic, they only showcase it when you're able to create loops or do degenerate things with a deck in the first place. Firewall, hello. So I feel like they actually point towards the problem cards rather than letting it be argued as the only counter argument I'll give for it. But yeah, I think you're pretty right in that they could be banned. PANKRATOS to 3, absolutely no way in heck not. I get it feels good to summon Prank. I get that he is a budget option, this man's, but to look at when he's at 3 and look at every deck list, there's 3 of them in every Cider main. That's not healthy when we're all relying on the same choices in Yu-Gi-Oh! And to go back to Electromite, yeah, a lot of pendulums will play Electromite, but it doesn't dictate what pendulums are good. This dictates that all roads in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Realm lead to PANKRATOS as an option in the side or main deck, and that's not good Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole. Next up, can RAIGEKI to go to 3? Absolutely, sure. Dark Hole's at 3. There's better cards. I think Dark Ruler No More is a better card in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's almost at 1 for its history. Free all the Dragon Rulers at once to 1. Blaster's okay. I see no problem with Blaster. Tidal might be a little bit of a problem with Mermail and their ability, but sure, let's see what it can do. Redox is my only hesitation with the Monster Reborn-like effect and its ability in Yu-Gi-Oh! To recur resources that would otherwise lie potentially dormant, but sure, let's see what they can do at this point. I'm bored. We're in a month with no releases and we're waiting on the ban list. I'll change it one time. Yeah, go ahead. Free them all to 1. Let's see what happens with dragons. And then again, Dragon Link, would it be powered up by all of them? I don't know that you would actually choose to play all of them together. I think it would be different decks, different strokes, all that. Red Reboot to 3, please? Or 0, please. How about 0? Let's go ahead and put it at 0, because if you really hate back row that much and want an unfair shut down all purple cards after laughing at purple cards for the last 3 years consecutively up until Ice Dragon's Prison, unless they were searchable by Geist or Eldritch, yeah, purple card's bad. I want a purple card to deal with it that doesn't act like a purple card. No, this deserves to be at 0 and stays at 0. Heavy Storm back to 1. Harpies is free. Why isn't this back? because destroying your own cards in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually a good effect, and I don't think you need more help in the Spell and Trap department. We have 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Twin Twister, 3 MST to bring up MST, but you have Barbie's Feather Duster too. There's so many ways to deal with back row. Denko Seka! Yeah, remote duels, hello? But no, seriously, with Heavy Storm, the ability to not only in game states, for certain decks, support your game state and get your own cards off degenerately can be kind of disturbing. Imperial Order should be banned. I didn't know this was a hot take until I uploaded my last video and heard people out, and I'm going to continue to disagree and say yes, we should ban it with the people on the comment section of the last video, and totally agree with the guy that said we should ban it. It would be the first errated card to rejoin the ban list that was errated to dodge the list, and this shuts off a whole third of the card pool in every single spell, and just draw the out 5-head as people's answer. Oh, you can play Nightmare Phoenix in the extract. Let me tell you real quick the problem with just play Nightmare Phoenix. Imperial Order going on to an end board of like Boreal Savage, other negates, other back row traps. That's the problem. It's not just, oh, combo your way into Nightmare Phoenix, bro. Stop that argument. That's not a good argument. Imperial Order is a problem because it helps a board to protect from modern cards like Dark Ruler and more that are a check and balance system in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And Nightmare Phoenix isn't just the out 5-head. Speaking of cards that people are going to want to talk about, YATA GARASU, the oldest member of the ban list. I think he's fine in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I'm invested. I have a 9.5 BGS YATA, one of my only 5 slabs, and I'll say, keep him on the ban list, Konami, thanks. And I've also seen Konami employees, they do have a little bit of a say on the list, talk about this card and say that he deserves to stay on, so yeah, keep him on, but he's probably fine. Mystic Mind should go to 0, absolutely agree. Why would I roast you on that? Bring back Terraforming to 2 or 3 while you're at it. A lot of field spells have gone down in power, and Metaverse would be way more interesting with more limited floodgates like Necro Valley and Secret Village of the Spellcaster. Yeah, please. 0? Sure, I don't care about the step to 1. Take care of it. Get it out of here, please, for the love of everything. Somebody said Rhoda to 3. They said Rhoda the 3 when we're arguing about limiting Tenki, limiting the NADIR servant. Just put Rhoda the 3 silently. Isolde's still a card. Yeah, you're getting roasted. You think the non-hard OPT search card for one of the best typings in the game, one of the 3 best typings, Warrior, Spellcaster, Dragon. Classics, Dungeons and Dragon-like things. One of the 3 best typings in the game needs more help. Calm yourself down, dude. It's fine at 1. Change of Heart should come back. Triple Tactics Talent is at 3. I don't understand. This does not have an activation requirement, and with Link Summoning makes the greatest use of your opponent's monsters and doesn't even negate their effect or their ability to attack, thus stealing games. Remember when Snatch Shield came back for 1 list and got put back on? Mind Control is currently at 1. We're not even talking about putting it at 3. Just bring this back because Talents has it as an effect. Talents has it as an option, yet still requires something to happen before time, simplifying the game state. This can just be any time, further progressing the game state to unhealthy levels. Master Plans, nope, she belongs in Jerome's basement. She stays banned, she doesn't come back. Jerome's basement, that's where she can stay. I don't care for the advantage combo craziness that she offers. Time Seal can come back to 3. I agree, but similar to YATA, it's more what it stands for. The stopping your opponent from being able to do one of the core mechanics of the game, which is fine in certain cards. I think it's actually fine with how slow it is. Maybe there's something degenerate around it, even with Makiura's errata, but yeah, why not? Now, I'll roast this one all day. So many people argue Spell of Judgment should come back to 1 or 3, and then it would be healthy in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Troll and Lock hurts Spellbook so bad. Why would you argue this card? Why are you trying to defend a strategy all around the floodgate as if it was some memorable, happy thing for you? Jowgen. Oh boy, Jowgen. Yeah, Jowgen, me and my homie Jowgen. That's literally what you're looking forward to. Stop it. Get some help. Exodia Limbs should come back to 3 for all. I think it's more of a status symbol like we talked about with YATA. And I like that you didn't say the head because the head, in terms of RNG, is the least recyclable one. And the limb would make for funny Treasure Panda decks or Exodia niche rogue combos with all those Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTuber replay guys doing something cool with it. Yeah, sure. Free all the limbs to 3 and have just 1 head floating around. I kind of dig it. Ultimate Offering to 1. It's a trap card. It's slow, John. Being able to summon on your opponent's turn with Flunder is not a trap I'm falling into on your discussion. Absolutely not. The Flunder does not need to be able to operate on another level. Because it already can operate somewhat on its own, right? It doesn't need to go to the next level on a sack one of drop. No, keep this banned. You do not need to operate during your opponent's turn on a mass unlimited level of advantage. Stop it. Nadir Servant to 1. I completely agree. This card is so insane. But we do have the Megatons on October 1st with the no sooner than on October 1st. I highly doubt they would be hitting a product they're just releasing. They learned in 2017 not to do that with Zoo. But I would gladly like to see this at 1 or 2. The advantage this card offers is just so insane. Bring the Dangers back! No, this is some of the worst card design in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arguing drone lock and cards like that for stuff like this? Absolutely not. Tsuchinoko is probably the most balanced, which was first brought up in the stream, but the advantage train of all of these, the guarantee at free upstart body on boards kind of stuff, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And finally, somebody also said that the jars should come back. You deserve to be put in the jar if you understand that reference. Cyber Jar is so crazy destructive, and yeah, it might not do much in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, but there's something called Empty Jar. Go look at the history. It's an FTK deck with mill out, and I get that more stuff than ever. You're having to run through hand traps, run through what a deck does, and I even with all those hand traps, I disagree that they should get extra chances at doing another Morphing Jar in a turn. Ash is hard once per turn. A lot of these hand traps are hard once per turn. You don't need to see these running around into FTK zones and doing crazy things like that, even with all the hand traps. Just leave them where they are. They don't need to go any extra. Ding Long should come back. Absolutely not with how Fibrax's out there, first off. And second off, this man does way too much heavy lifting all on his own as you continue to go up in combo, and you don't need to help Zhang Zhang like that necessarily. Party Boat should come back. Usually it's Party Boat should come back and Hunter should be banned, but they just want Party Boat back to party. We don't need hand loops, first off. And second off, I hate the argument of switch them for the deck, because what's the deck gonna do? You're not even gonna be in the rogue section, really. Look around you. You don't need to be playing switcheroo on the ban list. I think it's fine where it's at. How to hit Prank Kids? I think Pack said doo-doodle-doo to 1/Pack Kids. I don't have a great answer, so I'm just gonna run with it too. I think hit Prank Kids this way is fine. And finally, access code Talker should be banned. It has a you can't respond clause to it, but you can let it summon, resolve his effect, and then do stuff to him. I do get that. I actually felt the argument for Boral Sword to be banned back in the day was justified. I also felt that for Saryuja, but I feel like we're in an era where we're always going to have a Link 4 boss monster that breaks through boards or is a big enabler or ends up on the board like Apollosa, and it's just on to the next one, on to the next one. Is this too broken? Not really. Let people play with it from the Megatons too for a while. But Boral Sword would just replace it. If you take him out, Apollosa would end up on more end boards. Dark Ruler no more was a nice counter to her. You're just looking for the next rank 4 boss if you take care of him. And while it is a huge field clear, it is for Links, you know, and you have Zeus for Xyz, all these overpowered cards, it feels like. I'm not just looking forward to replace it with the next Link 4. So that's pretty much all of the hot ban list takes from chat / my roast of a few. Agreeance with a lot of them. You're kind of spot on some. And let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Was something missed here? Did chat get to something that I missed? Yo, chat, you got a Victory Dragon to 1? Absolutely not, because we would need to make rules around it. It's the I scoop before you attack directly. You enter battle phase, I scoop arguments, and where they had to make rules for it in the OCG. We don't want arguments like, no, I got to attack, bro. That kind of stuff, we don't need people arguing. Tinky Band, no, I think Tinky the 2 is actually one of the best semi-limit hits the OCG has done in a long time. Choking out a little, but not greatly, for a card that also offers extra advantage and stuff like Ancient Warriors. Like, I think it's pretty cool. Light Stage 3, stop it. I know Mermaid's gone, but stop it. The card that not only restricts the back row, but also gets you free advantage and burns on top. 3 good effects. Don't need to be doing that. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for joining me live if you happen to join me live. And yo, Kevin, heavy lifting on the stream today. Super appreciate the donos, man.